Hi everybody. So I hope you guys can hear me. This is my mic, but it's kind of far, and I have to whisper because everybody's sleeping. So I can't talk too loud, but I hope that you can hear me anyways. And let's hope this thing works. So today I'm just gonna sketch some Megalobox stuff because it's I always wanted to see that. I like boxing a lot. To watch boxing. Boxing. Yeah, it's not my thing. But I really love anime too, so Megalobox is a good one. Hajime no Ippo, I believe that's how you pronounce it, is a great anime also. The original one, and then there was it was done, like redone later. I think it was added to. I didn't see the second part, but like the remake. But that's also a great anime on boxing. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is just start my practice, and I'll start with my very thin pencil. And let's see. I have an idea of making the guy getting ready, pushing up, pushing his chest up with an uppercut. So all this motion is is being pushed up. So I'm trying to find the gesture lines of that motion, and I'm thinking about the proportions also while I'm doing it. This is still kind of basic, kind of stiff. This too is kind of basic. I'm not doing anything interesting. Now, if I switch it around and then make it twist, and make him throw that punch, and he's just looking to the side, and this could be his head, and he's looking this direction as he throws this massive jab, and he's like sliding into that jab, like he just like pushed off his leg. His other leg is just catching all of his weight. But it's also, instead of stopping, it's continuing to run with that force. So this looks better. And the other position was stale. Because it's like, it was just not challenging or fun enough. This one is absurd. Like the whole rib cage is twisting, shifting. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna try to see this would have been flat. If I made his arm coming out this way, that would have been flat, which also is stale. It's stale because it's calm and he's like doing an action pose. He has to be moving his body in a lot of different ways. Can't be like all stale and um, predictable. Like still for me is that this kind of easy pose, is predictable pose, and too stiff and predictable. It's not going to be a good pose. So Megalobox is like it's an anime. So let me make this kind of like a fan art version. It's really absurd because if you enhance people's arms with robotics, but you didn't enhance their neck, or their like the back of his neck or his head, to absorb the impact of this of a robotic arm smashing into your skull. That's like the person's not gonna survive. But this is an anime, so it's just fun. It's all about fun and games. So what I did wrong there was I'm trying to show this more static. In this case, I want this arm to be static. Everything else is really in a lot of movement. But this arm, I want it to be static and just straight. So when you punch, and your arm is straight, like your thumb is lower, so everything has twisted. And your arm is now on, it's facing that side. And you're going to see the flexor carpi ulnaris on the other side, or you'll just see the bump of the ulna, but it's covered by the Megalobox gloves in this case. This is my beginning, right? And I have everything down, what I'm going to try to represent. Now I'm really going to push the gesture on this one versus the drawing I did yesterday or the other drawings, and that's why this looks very much cooler now than the other ones. Alright, sorry for the bad sound effects, but you'll probably hear them the whole time. I apologize for them, but I won't stop. So all I'm doing now is I'm not talking because I was really analyzing the muscles that attach here. Would the teres major be visible from this pose? Teres major is a muscle of the scapula. Would the latissimus dorsi be visible? Yes, indeed. And this is the serratus anterior part that looks like a knife, a serrated knife. That's where that name comes for this really cool muscle. This is the armpit area, right? So it's going to be really dark. Now what I did wrong that I could see is this scapula should have been pushed even further out. But because the scapula should have been pushed further out because he is punching. The scapula moves and put more space for the trapezius to be showing. I can't change that at this point, so I'm going to leave it. But perhaps what you could say if this was animated, I would make his arm extend even further, you know? And in the animation, the next frame would be it extending further, and the scapula, the arm would just move. So you have to think about what you did wrong and try to fix it. Okay, like you must think about your basics, and if you need critiques, ask your friends or someone. Like, what do you think? Mainly, you should look at real life, look at boxers, and study physics. Not like the equations physics, but you could. That's also not going to hurt you. Like force equals mass times acceleration. It's not going to hurt you. Do you know what that stands for? So there's a part here which corresponds to the 10th rib. As I place that down, heavy, look at how much better this looks. And the cool thing is that it's kind of halfway between the nipples, the top of the abs and the belly button. So that's something cool I learned from one of Robert Beverly Hale's, I think his name is Beverly, Hale's book with his student that was written, Anatomy of the Great Masters, Anatomy Lessons from the Great Masters. It's a fantastic book. For those of you who are studying anatomy, and this is YouTube, man, Proco is like amazing too. So you should definitely get the, if you can afford it, or save up, because it's worth every penny to get his premium stuff, because then you get his ebooks and they're very helpful. Like if you're just like I don't want to risk sounding vulgar or anything, but if you're using the bathroom, you have some reading time, just read those ebooks while you're using the bathroom every day. You get better over time. With art, you have to be very patient, but you have to also put in work consistently. You can't like skip days, and you should not skip days. It's like learning a language. You wouldn't skip days if you're really serious about learning Japanese or like Hindi or Arabic or Chinese, Mandarin. You're not going to skip days if you're really serious. So you shouldn't skip days when you're trying to learn this stuff. Art is so fantastic. This is like really fun, and there's something really magical about it. That's why kids do it. That's why it's kind of like every human child does art. They're so happy. They're so full of life. Kids are. We tend to forget that when we're older. We get assaulted in many ways by life, and the negative poles of life, which are like they appeal to our ego, our lower nature, because or they appeal to our pain and our suffering and loss. Those things are very hard to deal with. And it just seems like kids kind of have that loss and that difficulty too, like young kids, but they still draw. And I think it helps them. It helped us when we were kids deal with stuff by drawing and imagining. Like this is the real virtual reality headset. Your reality, your imagination. It's like the real virtual reality headset. So I'm gonna sound like an old timer, but like really, we used to play outside, play sports and stuff as kids. We had Nintendo, and when I was younger, this actually came out when I was younger. But like, we still man, I forgot his entire gear. It's Megalobox, and I forgot his gear. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and fix that. Put his gear on. It's not gonna look right. I totally forgot to put it on. So what I'm gonna do is hopefully I can make it work. Put some hard edges, different planes. I hope that you guys watching can remember and rekindle your love for art and just being happy, or just like, if you're studying to become better at art, sometimes it doesn't feel happy because you're not going to improve for a long period of time. Actually, you're constantly improving, but it just might not be visible. But it's still like meditative and salutary, like kind of medicinal or beneficial, helpful. Even if you're just learning it, you can grow to actually love perspective and learning all that anatomy and that tough stuff. So, I don't know what I'm going on about now. Basically, don't give up, man. And guys and girls, just don't give up. World is a beautiful place, and it's like so much to learn from and to apply. There's so many things that we could do to help ourselves and help each other. Thank God for hope and kindness and good nature in people. I'm ad-libbing some of this stuff because, like I said, I already made some errors. Forgetting to put in this Megalobox stuff. So check out that cartoon. The anime, you can't call it a cartoon. Everybody was an anime fan knows that. You can't call this a cartoon. You can't call anime a cartoon. It pins, right? Maybe some anime you can call a cartoon, but don't do it in front of somebody that's an anime fan. Probably hurt their feelings. Probably not cool. There's the side of the pencil. To create this nice gradation effect. Now, the bell is going to be just like a section line, and so is the top part of this belt. I mean, the top part of his pants. It's like going round, and they really show how he's bending. Alright, this is my 23-minute mark, so I'm gonna have to call this one basically done soon. I have to think about all the shading now. I'm trying to present here. He's got scars on his right side. This is right side. I mean, it's not a perfect match with the characters from Megalobox, but just having fun, man. Now I'll think about where should I put my darkest darks. Definitely want to do that on his face. Both his eye and his eyebrow are a little too dark. Let's see if I can fix that. The eyebrow got too thick. So if you're looking at it from the top, it's not going to be that thick. It's going to be thinner. I actually should show his hair flowing out in this direction, because his hair should follow the flow of all of this action. You see what I'm saying? So not doing that I would be very disappointed when I looked at this drawing the second time. And I was like, oh man, the hair, the gesture of the hair, the gesture of anything that could move should be pointing to that in that direction. This is just too dull. That pencil. Maybe I should have got the proper sharpener. Use this one. And it looks like he's smiling because I made that line too for the side of his mouth too wide. That's been bothering me. The expression is really important because as human beings, we're going to look at the expression of another human being, even if it's just in, I'm not going to say anime, I'm not going to say cartoon, an anime character. I'm going to make his eyes looking in this direction. So he's looking in the direction he's punching. I gotta have that because if I can't communicate that, then I can't feel in this drawing. Remember that the expression includes the direction the eyes are looking, what the eyes are doing. That's better. Looks like he's looking in that direction. Okay. Alright, this is one more shadow. Shadow. Shadow lines can follow like this, like kind of the gesture lines of everything else. And some darker shadows with the Prismacolor Premiere. Now they don't have to be darker just because they should be darker in that area, but they should be darker with a purpose. Like if you want the viewer to look there, then make it darker. So I'm gonna have to dial some of this darkness back here because like what am I doing? I don't want you to look at his armpit really. I mean, unless it's gonna be all the darks are all like grouping together, and that's another good way to keep, that's a good thing to do. So could make it dark. Just not super dark. It's here, it's here. Even the dark shapes in the hair can have the reinforcing gesture of the hair. That's our guy, Megalobox. It's a really fun anime. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys like this. If you watch that video, anime. And have a great day. My Instagram and YouTube is JamTronArt. Before I go, I'm just throwing some highlights. Those highlights really working wonders. As well, add some more serratus. That's looking really nice on the 10th bit. Nice. Let's do the maps here. Boom. It's looking much nicer. See, I thought I was gonna sign off for today's 32 minutes, but couldn't. It's just too much cool. Man, started with the highlights and it's gonna stop. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful day and peace.